Hey, what's up? What's up? Joe in Vegas back with another review. This one's for the 80s metal fans that I have out there. This is my little genre of music that I grew up on that's still, I think, unbelievable. Went to see Tom Keifer last night of Cinderella. LA Guns did open. I'll talk about them in a second. But Mr. Keifer. So there's a couple of these 80s bands, I've always said it. Tesla, Cinderella. They were so good. And for some reason, I guess it was a party. There was a lot of really good, talented bands back in the mid to late 80s. Not everybody could have that sort of enormous success that Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue and those guys had. And it's kind of a shame because when you see a guy like Tom Keifer, and this is, I think, the fourth time I've seen him, and he's playing. Look, this time was pretty good. I think the first few times I saw him, maybe 10 years ago, he was playing little bars of 150 people. And slowly it's been getting better, which is great. That tells me that this genre of music is getting more popular. But, you know, it was such a gift 10 years ago to see a guy like Tom Keifer in a packed little bar here in Vegas with 150, 200 people. It was like heaven on earth. Now that he's getting bigger, it was pretty crowded last night. It was a better-sized theater, at least 1,000 people, maybe more. But anyway, let's start with LA Guns. But I don't think I finished my thought. Tom is so fucking talented. You're talking about a guy who 40 years later still sings from every morsel of his soul. And I think something happened in the 80s. These guys were just on it. And I think it was that, you know, I saw a documentary, I forgot what it was, and it was talking about the music of the 60s, and Ringo was saying how, you know, him and Paul heard Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, and they ran home and said, oh my God, we got to up it. And then they wrote Magical Mystery Tour. And then Beach Boys heard that and said, holy shit, and then there's this competition that happens with bands. And I think somewhere in the 80s, there were a lot of these bands, and they were really talented people. And they just kept trying to one-up each other. And we had this decade with this incredible music. And here we are 40 years later, and it's still so good. And I don't know. I can't speak for, you know, if I should have taken, I would be interesting to take like a 25-year-old to a show like this and see what they think of the music. But at least for our age, in the mid-40s, late 40s, it holds up so well. These songs have never gotten old to me. And it's not just Cinderella. It's Tesla. It's all of them. So we'll get back to it. Let's start with LA Guns that open. LA Guns has always been an interesting band for me. Also, one of these bands that were talented but never had that major success. They had, I think 2 or 3 songs. A Ballad of Jane probably was their biggest like commercial success because that was, again, there was everybody writing these heartbreaking ballads back then, and they just kept one-upping each other. But they never broke out of that. There was a certain sound, you know, it wasn't just hair metal. This was like that sleazy Hollywood rock sound. And I don't want to say they're a one-trick. They really have one sound, and it works really well for them, and it works for their fans. But I don't know if it was good enough to break them into mainstream. But let me get into their set list real quick. Cannonball, Electric Gypsy, Over the Edge, Like a Drug, Sex Action, One More Reason, Hellraiser's Ball, Speed, Tracy Guns did a guitar solo, I Want to Be Your Man, Kiss My Love Goodbye. He did a really short Stairway to Heaven intro on his guitar, just because he used to work at this show called Raiding the Rock Vault in Vegas that was on that stage. So I think he was feeling pretty nostalgic last night. They did the intro to Hell's Bells, which I don't think you can get more rock and roll than that. And then Never Enough, which is one of their best. I mean, it's one of their big hits, but also I think one of their best songs. Ballad of Jane and Rip and Tear, also great songs. Ballad of Jane's great. I thought they were good. I never loved LA Guns, but they're solid. They're good at what they do. They know their lane. They stay in it, and they're really good at it. Scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give them a 7 out of 10. I don't think they sounded great, but they had the energy, and the fans loved it. Their fans were happy to see them, so good for them. Let's move on to Keifer, because that's really why I went. I'm telling you, Tom Keifer might be the most underrated artist, definitely of that era of rock and roll. He plays so many instruments. He writes his music. He is I don't know. I just don't know why they weren't much bigger. I'll go through the set list now. There's so many hits, and they're all so good. Okay, he starts with Life Was Here, Hot and Bothered, Heartbreak Station. Oh, what a song. The Death of Me, Bad Seamstress Blues, Coming Home. To me, that intro, that opening to Coming Home with the guitar, so it is just perfection. Nobody's Fool, I think, might be my favorite song by Cinderella and Tom. The point of the song, the lyrics of the song, the way the song builds, the way his voice is screaming. Tom has a magic that the way Axl used to scream was more, I guess, commercially friendly. The way Tom screams is painful. You feel his pain. You imagine him in a room writing these songs and ripping his shirt open and ripping papers and throwing bottles of fucking whiskey against the wall. There's something in his voice, and it hasn't gone away. How can you be not to say fucked up or hurt, but how do you have that pain last inside you for so long? Because I still believe him when he sings it today that he still feels that stuff. Nobody's Fool's just top-notch song for me. Solid Ground, Night Songs, love it. And then he gets into this pack of hits that Cinderella had. Shake Me, oh, so good. Last Mile, awesome. I don't know. Whoever did this set list wrote Shake Me twice. I don't know. I feel like it was Last Mile and then Shake Me. I don't know why they messed this up. Shake Me, and then a lot of people don't know, but one of his background singers is his wife. And they've done this at every show I've gone to. They pull out the piano. Tom sits down. Yeah, I don't know why they wrote Shake Me twice. Last Mile, Shake Me, and then it was Shelter Me. Yeah, they got this all wrong. Yeah, I'm sorry. Shake Me, and then they did Shelter Me. And then he broke out, which is also a fucking great song, Shelter. I remember that video so well. So great. Then he brought out the piano, and he sits down. And he does probably top 4, 3, 4, 5, somewhere in the top 5 of those heavy 80s rock ballads that just were so good. Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone is a masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. I know it's commercial, but the lyrics to that song, and again, the way that Tom sings it, he sings it like no one else can sing that song. Just perfection. So he sings it with his wife. His wife sits down. They sing it together. It's just, I love it. It's the highlight of the show for me. And then he did a cover of the Beatles with a little help from my friends. He gives a little speech about how all these years we've been hanging out together, him, the fans. Music has all saved our soul. It's what we have in common. He's right. It was a really nice speech. I remember it well. And then he closed out with Gypsy Road. Boo, Gypsy Road. What a song. Great set list. Great pack of hits. I mean, the whole show was 16 songs, and 9 of them were big hits as far as I'm concerned. So, great show. I love Tom Keifer. I would tell anybody, if you get a chance to go see Tom Keifer, run to see him. He is an unbelievable gift to rock and roll and to this world. I will go see him every time in town. It is I think I paid $45 for my ticket. What you get for that dollar amount versus what you get for going to see a big show at a big arena and paying $200-$300 a ticket, it's absurd. It's absurd. I don't know why they didn't put Tom Keifer on that stadium tour. I don't know what he's like. Maybe he's hard to deal with. I don't know him. I mean, I did meet him once. He was very nice. I don't know why he's not an opening act for Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses on these big stadium tours. It would bring the house down. Maybe he's too good. Maybe they don't. If he was, I wouldn't want him as my opening act. I'd have to be worried about overtaking him. Scale of 1 to 10. Let's see. I'm going to give Tom a 9.1. In the past, I think I've given him. I don't know if I ever reviewed him, but I know I liked him more. This one, I think it was a little bit off. I felt like he was singing sometimes to backing tracks, which is fine. I have nothing against that because with a voice like that, you can't keep doing it. Either way, it's a great show. 9.2 out of 10. Thanks for listening. If you were there, if you've seen him, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I try to read as much as I can. I'm off to Utah for the weekend, so no more shows this weekend. So I will see you at the next show. Bye-bye.